Welcome to Everything Football Show. My name is Ola Banji and I'm here with J-Boy. We're going to be starting with a brief recap on the league games that were played over the weekend. We're starting with the English Premier League first. So Bournemouth won against Leicester City. So Leicester City lost again. They considered 2 goals in 5 minutes against Bournemouth. Manchester City won 4-0 against Southampton. Chelsea won 3-0 against Wolves. Brighton lost against Spurs at home 1-0. Then Arsenal won a 5-goal thriller against Liverpool 3-2. Then Man U ended yesterday fixture against Everton, winning 2-1. So yeah. Let's talk about Leicester City. They are 19th on the table. I mean, everybody thought they were going to win that game on Saturday, especially after going ahead in the first half, only to concede 2 goals in 5 minutes as usual. What do you think? Do you think Brendan Rodgers' time at Leicester City is running now? Brendan Rodgers in Leicester City, do you think his time is running
obviously, out? They can't continue like this. I think the major question should be actually, you don't even concern these two teams. It should be for Nottingham Forest giving their own manager a new deal, especially with what Bournemouth.
We'll still get there. We'll get to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, they have a game. I just want to touch that because it's still that's what I was even googling. That's why I was not listening to you. I was trying to confirm it actually happened. That they gave him
a new deal
after being trounced 4-0 by this same Leicester team that got beaten by Bournemouth. I guess maybe they are preparing for next year in the championship, because it just makes absolutely no sense. It's obvious that Rodgers just has to go. They need a change. They need something to change quickly if they want to survive.
But do you think Bournemouth's luck will run out anytime soon?
I still think they need a new manager.
Like Bournemouth.
What do you call it? The team, the players are obviously giving their all and everything, and they are trying. Nobody can abuse them for lack of effort. They put everything to every match that they believe. That's why they come back from 1-0 down against Leicester and score 2 in 5 minutes, even though it was.
They came back from 2 goals against Nottingham Forest too.
No, was it Nottingham Forest?
Against Nottingham Forest, 2-0. Then they won 3-2.
What about against Brentford? I think they also did that.
They probably came back against Brentford.
Then I think it was Bournemouth that came back from 2 goals down against Brentford to win as well. And it shows the players are resilient. I just think they need an experienced manager like Benitez or someone even Wilder. Because Wilder, I think, is out of the job right now. To just come in, and because Gary O'Neill is very, 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 very green in there.
All right, let's move on. Newcastle ran riot yesterday against Brentford. What's wrong with Brentford? I think they are winless in about 3 or 4 games now. What's happening with Thomas Frank and his team? What do you think?
I think it's the normal second season syndrome. And I think they are actually handling it better than the last 2 people that went through that. I think Leeds and Sheffield. I think the most important thing is that there should be 3 teams that are worse than them right now in the Premier League. So
I mean, they are still 11th on the table.
Yeah, so they've already won. They've gotten points on the board. They just have to get out of this funk that they find themselves in and start winning games.
I mean, Newcastle have been impressive this season.
Yeah.
Where they started the season with a lot of injuries from key players, and they managed to at least get maximum points from most games. So their next game is against Man U. What do you think about that?
Newcastle is going to be very tough for Man U, because Man U too is not. Manchester United is not really. They are not really stable right now. You can see from the way they play. They still make silly errors on first errors. So they are still a work in progress. But this Newcastle team, they look under the short time Medial has been there. They look like they have an identity. They have a plan, and they follow their plan. So it's going to be very difficult. I won't be surprised if Newcastle win or get a draw from this.
All right. Let's talk about Chelsea Wolves. Wolves, they've sacked their manager last week, after he lost. They went they went into the game against Chelsea without a permanent manager. So now they are being linked now with Ruben Amorim, the sporting manager, and Lopetegui. Which is the better option here?
Ruben Amorim is the better option, obviously, but I don't think if I was in his position,
I don't think he shouldn't.
Take the job. Yeah. Because all the way from Champions League, with everything has done with Sporting, it should be
a better job. Yeah.
And Lopetegui, I wouldn't even consider giving him a job.
For now, he shouldn't even consider taking a job for now.
He shouldn't even consider taking that job.
Yeah, he should just relax and.
Because that just seems like a trap.
Refresh his memory. So Mendy now, last 2 games for Chelsea, has been on the bench.
Yeah, Mendy.
Do you think it's time?
Yeah, to me,
he's up as the first goalkeeper.
To me, has always been suspect, and I think to me it was only a matter of time before Kepa would usurp him, and I'm not even surprised because they paid so much for Kepa. I was obviously going to get at least one more chance before they decide to sell him or anything. So it's not really a surprise to me. Mendy is very erratic. He's not very good with his feet as well, which is what most modern day managers require of good goalkeepers, and prone to errors. It was only a matter of time before this was going to happen.
So, like, ability-wise, do you think this is justified? Like,
ability-wise, it's still hard to.
Like, what both keepers bring to the table?
I think ability-wise, because of Kepa's ball playing ability and all the goals was conceded, it was only a matter of time for him to improve. Everyone that has seen Kepa in Athletic Bilbao, they know it's not that bad. It's obviously not that bad. And I think over time, with the wins coming in, he will gain confidence back and he will show the decision to be right.
A keeper's like primary assignment is to save goals.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
So I'm talking about like the goalkeeping aspect,
that's
like saving goals.
When he was in Bilbao, he wasn't conceding with the same percentage he was conceding in Chelsea. So I think he lost confidence, and his manager lost confidence in him as well. And he has been through a tough period, and he has come out now and he's looking good.
I mean, to be fair, he has been impressive in the last few games.
He's actually good. He was just lacking confidence. That was me, I think.
All right, let's move on. So Brighton suffered their first defeat under their new manager, against Spurs on Saturday.
Yeah, it was a very, very close game. I think Brighton continued with their normal habit of wasting chances. A lot of chances fell to Welbeck, and he wasted so many. And Spurs got to go through the master poacher, master goal getter, Harry Kane. It was a real poacher's effort. I don't think the ball was even aimed at him. It was just it was like a shot on goal, and it was there to divert it to the net.
All right, let's move on and talk about the game between Arsenal and Liverpool yesterday. I mean, there are so many excuses that I think club could, or Liverpool fans could list, from the poor officiating to club's substitutions to Alexander Trent-Arnold's mistake to Thiago's mistakes. What do you feel about Liverpool currently now? Do you think club can turn it around before January?
They are currently in a bad situation, and the situation in their midfield especially is incredible that they allowed this to happen, because as far as I'm concerned, they went for a striker, overpaid for a striker when they had emergency, they had needed players, they needed balls.
I mean, one could argue that for like over 3 years they've had this situation in the midfield where they've just been talking it out.
Since Coutinho left Liverpool, they haven't gotten one creative player to replace him ever since he left, and they've just been managing with a workman midfield that puts in the work. They don't really create anything. They leave that to the wide players to create, and it was always going to catch up with them. Teams will always find a way to stop that. You have to be more like Man City. There's creativity everywhere, from the full back, from the wing, from the center. That's the top class team there. And if you want to compete on that level, you have to improve your team, and they didn't do that. They improved where they didn't really need to improve, if you ask me, because they had.
They could go one more season without a striker. Yeah.
and now they are paying for it. Well,
They could have just paid money for 2 years,
yeah.
giving him more money for 2 years, and invested them, the large sum they paid for Nunez, invested it in a midfielder. Like I said, they bought the wrong Nunez. I feel they should have bought Matheus Nunez instead of the striker. They need a midfielder, because players like Henderson, Avi Elliott. Because for how long will you continue to play wingers as a midfielder?
Playing out of position in midfield just compensates. Navigator to me has underwhelmed, and they still persevere with him. It's like I think even Michael Edwards should be questioned because he was there for a while. I think he left just last season. He should be also questioned that why didn't he find a solution to the midfield as well. He also has,
because they never replaced Wijnaldum that left 2 seasons ago.
As well. They just replaced him with Avi Elliott, as far as I'm concerned, and Avi Elliott is not a midfielder. But I think there are problems even surpasses that. I think it's a mental problem now. It's become maybe after the exertions of last season because in my opinion, last season to me, for them, the player must have been
they overworked themselves last season.
They must have been not very happy with the season because
they deserved more.
They deserved more, and they won the least 2 trophies out of the 4 trophies they could have won. I'm sure if they won the Premier League and Champions, they would have been.
But especially considering the performance against Madrid in the final, how difficult they found it to create. Because Madrid totally, blocked any runner behind their defense, because they know that's how Liverpool like to play. Their wide men like to run behind. Madrid eliminated that, and they couldn't create anything. I felt going into the summer, they would have looked into getting a creative midfielder. Someone that ticks all the boxes in it. But it's disappointing they spent that much on striker.
Madrid also laid the blueprint on how to beat Liverpool.
That said, I think
Salah has also been terrible this season. I don't understand what is happening with that.
Considering he has been played, he's being deployed in a different way now.
Yeah, he's been deployed.
He has been made to hug the line, which is not, Salah, right from his days at Basel. He's not that type of winger to hug the line. He's an inside forward, someone that's one of the reasons Liverpool have been finding difficult to score. When your danger man is so far away from the goal. Why is he trying to punish him because of the contrast situation? Because this has been happening since last season. He has been making Salah hug the line since last season. So I don't understand. Maybe it's an ego situation happening there.
That doesn't still stop him from not at least even creating from wide. He's not even creating.
He has like 2 goals and I think 3 assists.
For a player of his caliber, I think that's very poor.
Because of the record he has set.
Because he has set a standard and he's not living up to the standard. So
let's move on. As Arsenal's fans now, they're on cloud 9. They're happy. They are proving themselves. But for me, I think that yesterday game was not really.
I think they should be much more happier with VAR.
Yeah, for me, that yesterday's game between Arsenal and Liverpool, it was not really a good match, because the goals Liverpool scored was because Arsenal defenders made unforced errors. Then the goals, like the winning goal Arsenal scored was because of poor officiating. But then Arsenal were in a better place yesterday to win. But the performance, especially the defensive aspect of the game from both teams, it was kind of poor yesterday. So let's move on to Man U and Everton's game, the last game that was played yesterday. Man U won 2-1. Martial is injured again. For how long, we don't know yet until tests are done. Everton lost their first game in like 6 games. I think yesterday would have been his 7th game without a loss. But I think Lampard has been doing fairly okay. Still trying to figure it out, but at least he has eliminated the goals that they concede anyhow. At least the defense is quite okay now.
Which is surprising from Lampard, because he's not really known for
the defense. And talking about Man U, the midfield is still, shaky. It lacks balance. I don't know. I think Man, you need at least a center midfielder in January. But let's just talk about the game. What do you think about the game from yesterday?
I think both teams were poor. They were really, really poor. They didn't really,
Especially in the second half.
they didn't even have to mark to really get the ball. Just wait.
Yeah.
After 5 passes, they will probably
Both
pass
teams
it.
couldn't string
both
5
teams
passes
couldn't-
together.
and that's how they were losing the ball. Both teams. In fact, I think 3 goals came from someone giving away the ball.
Yeah.
Which is I think the third goal Ronaldo scored. The goal Ronaldo scored, Casemiro
Gave it away, got it back.
Then that just
pass.
shows 2 teams that are not stable, not very.
That's why I don't think Man U would get 3 points again. I think the best result for Man U against Newcastle in the next game.
They really have to improve from that performance. Regardless of the win, there were glaring holes in the team and glaring. They are not on the same wavelength
at all. All right, let's move on to La Liga. Atletico Madrid played against Girona on Saturday. They won 2-1. So Atletico Madrid are 4th on the table. I think with their performance so far in the league, I don't think, regardless, I don't think they are going to sack or think about even making changes in Atletico, because they probably feel like they owe him a lot of gratitude for how far he has brought them. Moving on, let's talk about the game between Sevilla and Bilbao. Sampaoli took over his first game yesterday, and on Saturday rather, which I think was surprising considering he just got the job on Wednesday, was it? But yeah, they played 1-1, but it was a good game from Sevilla. They had chances to seal the win.
I think they played with more attacking compared to under Lopetegui.
Yeah.
And I think the new manager bounce is enough to get the players going. So that's what you saw right there.
At least from a Sampaoli side, you know that they don't concede much. It's very strict defensively.
But there was a much improved performance from Sevilla.
So Sevilla are 18th on the table. Over the course of next few weeks before the international break for World Cup, do you see him moving to the top 10 on the table? They are currently 18th.
I think their next games, the next game is against Mallorca, which should be easy win for them. They have a couple of nice fixtures coming up, so I expect them to at least come out of the relegation zone and start making headway. At least,
right.
I think if they end up qualifying for Europa League or Conference League, and with what has happened in the beginning of the season, they can be happy.
All right. Let's talk about Valverde and Atletico Bilbao. I think he has done, an impressive job building on Marcelino from last season. They are currently 3rd on the table and they play really exciting, football.
Yeah. He made his name in Athletic Bilbao, so this is the second spell there. So he knows the team, they know him. And I think a lot of the players that were there, Herrera is back there right now.
Yeah, Herrera is back. Most of the players he left are there. Yeah.
So it's just like they are continuing from where they stopped. Unlike Allegri is doing a good job.
All right. So on Saturday night, Getafe played Real Madrid. Madrid were again without Benzema. I think he's injured again. Madrid won 1-0. So now they are level on points with Barcelona going into the El Clasico next weekend. Barcelona also played against Celta Vigo yesterday. They won 1-0. It was a very close game. Celta Vigo arguably should have won that game, considering the quality of chances they got.
They were just very, very unlucky.
But going into the next game now, they are both on level points. Real Madrid will face an easy opponent in Champions League in Shakhtar Donetsk. I mean, knowing Ancelotti doesn't rest starters, so I know he most likely not rest them again. But Barcelona are facing Inter Milan in a must-win game, so I think he's going to play starters going into the El Clasico. So, what do you think about that? Going into the El Clasico and the fixtures, the quality of opponent both teams are playing. Do you think it will, be a major determinant in how they line up?
It will be a factor because the games are coming thick and fast. In the Premier League this past weekend, there were a lot of rotation from the likes of Chelsea. Even I think Man City made subs early the last 2 weeks in the Manchester derby. because they are trying to like keep players fit and avoid injuries because of the hectic schedule due to the World Cup. This Madrid Barcelona match, I can't look past Barcelona because even when they were struggling last season,
in the second leg,
they still humiliated
outplayed and humiliated
Madrid. So I think they will still find a way this season. But Real Madrid obviously have a point to prove. This is Bernabeu. They won't want that to happen. They want to like prove that the last time out was a mistake that must not repeat itself. So it will be a very, very tough game, but I'll still go with Barcelona due to the history between the two teams.
Let's move on to Italian Serie. Inter Milan won 2-1 against Sassuolo. So Inter now they are 7th on the table with 15 points. I mean, they've been missing their big summer signing in Lukaku, but from the reports I read, he's going to be back against Barcelona this week. What do you think about Inzaghi so far this season? For me, I think he has been underwhelming because the same reasons why they lost out at retaining the Scudetto last season was what he continued this season. Considering they brought in Mkhitaryan, they brought in Christian Aslani, they brought back Lukaku, and they had the defense. I was happy they didn't sell Skriniar.
He has been terrible this season.
Yeah, he has been making some. I mean, defensively they've been terrible. So it will be unfair to single out one player. And Andanovic also has been terrible.
Has been bad.
Yeah. So now
Andanovic was benched for the last game.
Yeah, for the last two games actually.
And has taken his place in the league.
And he has been doing well. So let's move on to AC Milan Juventus. I saw a stat that Allegri since he got back to Juve, the 17 big games he has played, he has only won one. I mean, that's such a terrible start.
I think
now it was a terrible match against Milan, considering the amount of injuries Milan had. I mean, this was Theo Hernandez played, but this was his first game in like 2 weeks. Matteo Gabbia, the centre back, the fourth choice centre back, was one that started with Fikayo. Even their right back, Calabria, is injured. Kalulu played from right. So like they had to. It's disappointing considering like the caliber of players Juventus went into that game with and the players that were missing from Milan's game. Do you see Allegri coming back as the coach after the
I think every game Allegri plays now as Juventus manager, he just destroys his reputation more. It's not a matter of will he be manager of Juventus by January. Will he get another job after this?
And that top job
after this. Because it's just tarnishing his image. I think he should just come to mutual agreement with the board to let him go because it's really getting embarrassing.
I mean, so Juventus, they're 8th on the table now. AC Milan, they're 4th. I think AC is about 3 points from, or 4 points from Napoli, first place. It's interesting. Napoli's problem has never been starting slow.
Always been ending.
Their problem has always been ending well. So, which I think if Milan,
I'm sure AC Milan they are very, very happy where they are right now, knowing that
if Milan can just keep
knowing that Napoli are just usually placekeepers.
Because even the club that are second on the table in Atlanta, they all poorly too. So if AC Milan can just stay within striking distance, I think they might most likely retain the Scudetto this season. So for Cremonese lost against Napoli yesterday. I mean, Napoli started. If they continue their fine form to the start,
Kvaratskhelia.
They are first on the table with 23 points. Kvaratskhelia had 2 assists in the game.
I think he didn't get a goal.
No, he didn't get a goal. He had 2 assists. He won the penalty. Then he assisted Simeone, the 3rd goal. So they are first on the table with 23 points. Atlanta, they are second on the table. Udinese, they are 3rd on the table. And I think AC Milan, they are 4th.
Udinese had a very, very interesting game against
Atlanta.
They came back from 2 goals down to secure a draw.
Yeah.
Wonderful free kick from Diallo, still proving that he can still cut it on the big stage.
Last game today is between Fiorentina and Lazio. If Lazio can get something out of the game, I think they might go back to being fourth on the table. And I think we should give Sarri credit because last season was was so shaky, up and down and all that. They stuck with him, and this season he has been okay. Aside the Europa League thumping they got 2 weeks ago, I think, was it 3 weeks ago? He has been quite okay. Fiorentina, on the other hand, I think they should do better.
They're having a bad start, poor start to the season.
And they've been playing well, but they just found it difficult to keep the goals to keep their defense from conceding a lot of goals. They score, but they don't outscore their opponent, and that has been their issue so far this season.
I think the last match I watched them play, their goalkeeper was abject. It was terrible.
Yeah, so let's move on to the German Bundesliga. Xabi Alonso got the job at Bayer Leverkusen. He won his first game 4-0. They are currently 15th on the table with 8 points. I was really impressed with the match. I didn't watch the full match, but I watched it in bits. I was impressed with the way they string the passes together with the attacking play. And the major thing I noticed is he didn't play 4-2-3-1. He played a 4-3-3. He used three midfielders, as opposed to the last two coaches who played 4-2-3-1, which I commended him for. What do you see him doing? Like, what are your expectations of him at Bayer Leverkusen?
I expect him to do well. He seems like an intelligent manager.
His father too was a manager.
He was an intelligent player, so obviously.
And he played under a lot of top managers.
So I'm not surprised. He also worked under Guardiola, worked under Mourinho, so it doesn't not like he's lacking from. He has worked. He has served a good apprenticeship under very very top class managers. So to be able to transcend that to his own plans and be able to really help this team to bring out the best out of it, because they have some wonderful players in this Bayer Leverkusen team, like Moussa Dembele, even Odoi from Chelsea.
Moussa Diaby.
And this guy playing
Jeremy Frimpong, Jonathan Tah.
I expect someone to come from Frimpong.
He's still young. He's an attacking fullback.
And next summer, because he has been producing since last season, scoring goals, goal scoring right back. Plays fullback. I'm not sure about his defensive.
Defensively, he's a suspect.
But going forward, it really looks exciting.
All right.
So,
let's talk about Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich. I mean, for the first time in 3.5 seasons, Borussia Dortmund got a point from Bayern Munich in the league, because in the last 3.5 seasons they've not won a game. This is their first time getting at least a point, and this is the first time the officiating will be in their favor. So this continues.
I think it's continuing Nagelsmann's
woes
this season. There are holes in their game. I don't really understand what the problem is exactly, but they just don't finish off teams, or sometimes they don't even just, the attack won't even click. So it's something for them to fix as soon as possible.
This was how they ended last season.
I think the last 3 games or so they were drawing, and they came back for Champions. They won.
They won in the league, then they won Champions League.
They won the last 2 games with huge score lines. Now they've started dropping points again. Hopefully the next match is the Champions League match. They will definitely win against
Union Berlin. They are still on top of the table. They won yesterday against Stuttgart 1-0. They have 20 points. Freiburg drew yesterday 2-2 against, I think, Hertha Berlin. They are second on the table with 18 points or 17 points or so. Borussia Dortmund and Bayern Munich, they are level on same points with 16. They are level on points with 16 points each. Dortmund, they are third, courtesy of more goals. So like, do you see Bayern Munich, going on top before the World Cup? Because for me, I don't, especially reports that came out, considering reports that came out 2 weeks ago about some of the first team players, complaining about Nagelsmann not taking responsibility for some of the decisions that made them, lose points in the game.
I think part of Nagelsmann's issues right now is his age. Not really something can fix because he's a really young manager. Some of these players are like Muller now.
Muller and the goalkeeper Neuer.
Yeah, Muller and Neuer. They will feel like, does this guy really have authority to tell us anything to do? We are almost like the same age. So very, very difficult.